What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Thanks as well for everybody joining us on Sports Radio 810 WHB, as well as ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Alongside Dan Courtwright, I'm Sean Kellerman, rolling you through this game day. It's going to be a late one in the mountains, KU and Colorado, as the Hawks try to go streaking, if you will, and win their third consecutive, try to take their act on the road. We're going to hear from Bill Self a couple times during this segment, but we are live at the Kansas Nation Studios, downtown Massachusetts Street, to give you this pregame coverage before you hear the Crimson and Blue Show on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. So appreciate you joining us. Kansas Nation, we are the place to be. We have the coverage that you need for all things KU. Dan, it all starts at KansasNation.com.
Absolutely, it does. Check out KansasNation.com for all of your coverage throughout the week and on game days as well. Everything Kansas related will be on KansasNation.com. Also, check us out on socials as well. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at the Kansas Nation. You can find us on Facebook at Kansas Nation. Check out our YouTube as well. All of our shows are going to be on there. It's Sean Kellerman and I doing Rock Chalk Sports every weekday from 4 to 6. Usually those are up right at 6 o'clock on our YouTube channel. Also got a lot of other great shows as well, including Haney and the Hawks, where Brian Haney, the voice of the Jayhawks, is joined by a number of different Jayhawk legends from the past. You also have the Legends of Kansas podcast with B-Mac and Chris Harris. You also have the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast, a really incredible podcast. Tyshawn Taylor, one of the many great,
very entertaining,
very entertaining. One of the many great personalities from KU basketball history. And then a new show that we have going on. It's Mick Schaefer and Greg Gurley, Between Two Fountains. They just started this one. Really, really excited about this podcast. You never know what those guys are gonna talk about. So Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer, Between Two Fountains. Be sure to check that out on KansasNation.com, as well as on all of our YouTube channels and on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts.
I know that Greg and Mick were floating around a couple different show name ideas.
Yes, they had
going with Between Two Fountains.
It was in the works for 8 months, and they had everything set up, but they could not decide on a name, and they wound up, after 8 months of deliberating, they finally went ahead with Between Two Fountains.
Couple great personalities in Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer. Yeah, Kansas Nation Podcast Network. We have a lot of different shows, as Dan just alluded to. Check them all out, KansasNation.com. And again, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We've got a state-of-the-art venue here, state-of-the-art studio and event space here at Kansas Nation, downtown Lawrence, talking all things Jayhawks. All right, before we get into this, want to give a big shout-out to Crown Automotive. Miles Schneer and his team over on South Iowa in Lawrence will get you in the vehicle that you need. Check them out online at crownautomotive.com if you can't give them a visit in person. It's still the new year, right? January 20th.
Yeah.
You need to get in a new vehicle. They can help you out. They got a great selection of new and used vehicles. crownautomotive.com. All right, let's preview KU Colorado. Jayhawks are back in the rankings at number 19 in the country. KU 13-5, 3-2 in conference play. Colorado is 12-6, 2-3 in conference play. Dan, the big news that came out yesterday, an official release statement regarding head coach Bill Self. I'll read it to you right now. Kansas Athletics, Daniel Burke sent this out. Quote, Kansas men's basketball coach Bill Self felt under the weather earlier today and out of an abundance of caution was taken to LMH Health where he received IV fluids. He is feeling better but did not accompany the team to Boulder. End quote. Want to get that out off the jump. So at least yesterday when the team flew out to Boulder, Dan, coach was not on the flight with them. Certainly hope that he feels better. We understand he's had some scares in the past. This, as they said, was out of an abundance of caution. Got some IV fluids. Hopefully he's back very soon.
Yeah, you obviously hope for the best for Coach Self. Like the statement said, he is feeling better. Obviously did not accompany the team to Boulder as they were going to be flying out yesterday, and Bill Self was in the hospital, but you really hope that this is nothing too serious. And it's good that out of an abundance of caution is the way that it was phrased, which is obviously a good thing because, like you said, he's had a lot of scares in the past, and you just you can never be too careful when you have multiple stints in and a triple bypass surgery and, different things like this in terms of Bill Self. So hopefully he does get better. Hopefully, he's back to 100%. I thought that this year he's looked the best that he's ever looked. Probably he's lost a ton of weight. He's been eating great. But obviously it's one of those things where they want to be extra careful whenever you do have a history of heart problems, that they decided to go ahead and take him into the hospital. So again, he's feeling better. That's all we know as of right now is that statement alone. Got some IV fluids, feeling better, was feeling under the weather yesterday. But he's, he is in theory fine, and we have not heard any updates since then.
At the time that we're recording the show, no updates since then. Hoping for the best, as I said. Next up on the coaching ladder, if you will, would be associate head coach Jeremy Case. Again, haven't heard at the time of this show that we're doing this at Kansas Nation if it'll be associate head coach Jeremy Case being the acting head coach, or perhaps Coach Self is able to make it out there today. Again, we don't know at the time of this show, but of course, Jacques Vaughn has head coaching experience at the NBA. Curtis Townsend has been around for quite some time as well. Either way, KU and Colorado will do battle tonight, and be thinking of Coach Self and hopefully a quick recovery from this, again, precautionary visit to LMH Health, where he received IV fluids and evidently is feeling better. Most recent thing that we heard. All right, before we get into KU Colorado and the two meetings yesterday, let's hear from Bill Self. Two meetings last year, rather. Let's hear from Bill Self. After the game against Baylor, Kansas won 80-62. Of course, that capped off a two-game home slate, if you will, that was wildly successful. And it ended with Darren Peterson and Flory Bidunga putting together probably, for both of them, their best individual performances of the year. Darren Peterson was named the Big 12 Freshman of the Week. Let's go to the post-game press conference for head coach Bill Self, talking about Flory and DP, as DP had 26 and Bidunga had 23 and 11 rebounds.
I think one reason why Flory looked good was also because of Melvin. But those guys were great. Both of them were great. They're 22 of 27, and the rest of the starters are 5 of 25, and we still won. Semi-handily, but they were both terrific. I thought that's the best game Flory's had in a while, maybe all year.
Yeah, Bidunga, not just 23 and 11, but 5 blocks and 2 steals, Dan. Incredible performance. And again, as we talked about yesterday, this is kind of maybe what we envisioned in the offseason. Now, on the flip side, you probably didn't envision either Trey White or Melvin Council being as good as they have been for Kansas, because you were looking at this as a 1-2 punch. This is going to be two guys heavily relied upon for Kansas, and I think that's still the case. And when everything comes together, KU will be the best version of themselves. But that 1-2 punch of Peterson and Bidunga completely controlled the game against the Bears.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I think when you look over the course of the season, at least in the preseason, you thought, oh, this is going to be Darren Peterson and Flory Bidunga's team. And then you haven't really seen Flory Bidunga be the dominant big man that you probably wanted him to. He's been serviceable. He's been a good rim protector. He can score, when he wants to, but you haven't seen the domination until the Baylor game, I would say, at least against a Power 5 conference opponent. You saw it against Corpus Christi. You saw him take down a couple of smaller schools, but against P5 opponents, you haven't really seen him take that next step in terms of what we thought Flory Bidunga was going to be. This is the first step that we've seen him really take in being dominant at the rim, being able to finish every single dunk, be a high-impact player, both on the defensive and offensive side of the ball, get into double-digit rebounds for the first time in a long time. It's really good to see Flory Bidunga be able to finally step into that role.
Yeah, Baylor, a good rebounding team, as we talked about when we were previewing that game that happened in the Fog on Friday night, but they didn't have a ton of size down low. You understand they're still trying to work in James Najee.
Yeah.
He didn't play very many minutes and hasn't yet to this point. They're going to need him to be some sort of, whether it's rim protection or offensive presence, some sort of presence in general if they want to become the best version of themselves, as the Bears are now 1-4 in conference play. More of a challenge, I would say, tonight against Colorado. Bengot Dak returns. He averages 7.5 rebounds per game. They've also got Sebastian Ronsiek, a guy who scored 19 points in Allen Fieldhouse last year, and a couple couple other bigs as well. Elijah Malone, not the most athletic guy, but he is a load down low as well. So more of a challenge for Flory. Can he have this be something that he consistently does? That would be huge for Kansas. And again, we're seeing some of the things that if they all come together, Kansas absolutely can be a Final Four team. That's not crazy to say. You got one of the best players in the country. If Bidunga performs like he did, if you got Melvin running the show, if Trey White has the efficiency that he's had all season, and if the guys kind of have that defense first mentality with some sparks off the bench as well, it could be a special season for KU. But they got to take their talent on the road. More on that here shortly. Peterson, 26 points, 11 of 13 shooting. Actually ended up playing just 23 minutes in this one. 11 to 13, and they weren't exactly all layups. I mean, he was hitting tough jumpers. He was hitting threes. He was 9 of 9 from two-point land. Let's hear from Bill Self post-game about his special freshman. Here's Self on Peterson.
I think the biggest thing, like tonight, he scored. The other night, the last two games, he didn't score, but against Iowa State, others were aggressive. Tonight, I actually thought the others weren't as aggressive shooting the ball, and we actually did a better job of looking for him because he was kind of, he was on a heater. But that was fun to watch. That was impressive.
Bill Self talking about DP, and certainly these last two games, more so what he was hoping for. Kansas staying aggressive, playing a little bit better together, but it all starts with number 22. Hopefully he has another great performance tonight in the Rocky Mountains. Kansas got Colorado twice last year. They were both kind of ugly, 71-58. KU won at Allen Fieldhouse, and then 71-64. KU won in Boulder, kind of grinded out games. Hunter Dickinson had 33 in the victory in Boulder. Just one meeting this year, and it is going to be in Colorado. Dan, tell us a little bit more about the Buffaloes and some of their individuals. Strangely, they brought back more players than most teams do. Those three guys I mentioned a little bit earlier are all returners.
Yeah, and I think when you look at the real impact guys from last year, Sebastian Rancic and Bengot Dak are the ones who really stick out to you, right? Rancic, he wound up with 19 points last year for the Buffaloes against Kansas in Allen Fieldhouse. It was an incredible performance by the forward. He's averaging 13.2 points per game this year, 32.9% from the three-point line, which isn't great, but you're still seeing really high productivity out of him. He's also averaging over 5 rebounds a game, which is really, really impressive. And then another forward that they have, 7-foot-tall Bengot Dak, who's averaging 11.4 points per game, 7.3 rebounds per game. A really good rebounding team is Colorado, at least with some of their big men. The guards don't get as many rebounds, but you're typically going to see that. You don't see as many guards like Trey White, like Darren Peterson, getting that many rebounds typically on the average kind of team. But the two guys down low really do kind of anchor this program. And then you got a guard, Isaiah Johnson, who is their leading scorer right now, 15.8% or 15.8 points per game as of right now, 44.3% from the three-point line, 51.6% from the field. A really high efficiency three-point shooter, really good at facilitating the ball as well. He's averaging 2.2 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game. Again, they are a threat. I don't think that this team is the most talented team, but I think that they are a threatening team around the arc and down low as well. Barrington Hargress, he's averaging 13.7 points per game, shooting 53.3% from the three-point line. So they have two really prolific three-point shooters on this squad in Johnson and Hargress, who Kansas is really going to have to be able to figure out how to guard that three-point line once again. Kansas was the best three-point defense in the nation in the non-con, and then all of a sudden you start to see the law of averages kind of creep its way back in. Kansas is holding everybody to under 30. All of a sudden, you're seeing teams go for 32, 35. I believe West Virginia shot around 40% from the three-point line. So you're seeing it kind of average out, but Kansas is really going to have to get back into their rhythm of guarding the three-point shot.
Sean Kellerman and Dan Court right here rolling you through. Thanks for listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB as well as ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. KansasNation.com. We are here at the Kansas Nation Studios on Mass Street in downtown Lawrence, getting you ready for KU and Colorado tonight. Hawks need their first road conference win. It'll be a late one, 10 o'clock for tip, 8:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show across the Jayhawk Radio Network. Couple stats that I wanted to bring up that are interesting, and this is why you can't you either can't read into stats too much, or you need to read into them extra, because when you look at the full slate for Colorado, an 18-game slate, again, they're 12-6 and 2-3 in Big 12 play. Defensively, they are 14th in the Big 12 in opponent field goal percentage for the entire season, and they are 15th in opponent three-point field goal percentage. Now, I think at this point, you're 5 games in, it's probably more accurate to look at conference-only stats. And the conference-only stats, Colorado is much better defensively, interestingly enough, as they are 9th out of 16 teams in opponent field goal percentage, and they are 2nd in opponent three-point field goal percentage. Teams are shooting from three just 27.4% from three. That means in the non-con, teams, they rose and fired and connected against Colorado, but they've done a good job in conference play. They have dropped their last 3. Also, another note for Colorado regarding statistics that could come into play. They lead the conference in free throw shooting at 82.7% in conference play, and just south of 79% overall. So you don't want them to live on the line by any stretch. That's certainly a way that they can stick with Kansas in this one. And, we'll have to see. But if you look at Colorado on the whole, they started their season winning their first 8 games, lost at Colorado State, rivalry game, by just 5. Colorado State's a really good team. Defeated a couple mid-majors, then lost back-to-back games to Stanford and Northern Colorado. They opened Big 12 play, defeating not exactly the who's who of the Big 12, but they won in Tempe against Arizona State, and then they defeated Utah. In Boulder, they almost beat number 14 Texas Tech. Tech got them 73-71, so they obviously have the talent, have the ability to stick with some of the best teams in the conference. And then they lost the Cincinnati, West Virginia trip, lost by 9 to the Bearcats and 11 to the Mountaineers. So I know it's the team that finished 16th in the conference last year, who, by the way, won 2 games in the conference tournament last year. But this is just a perfect example of it's always going to be a challenge. Kansas is a small favorite in this one. I mean, this isn't a situation where KU is expected to go to Boulder and absolutely destroy Colorado. They need to play with the same energy, intensity, and we're going to hear shortly from Bill Self. They need to take their act on the road.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you look at the last 2 games for Kansas, which are huge wins in terms of opponent, in terms of momentum, in terms of, pivoting what could have been a disastrous start to conference play, starting off 1-5, all of a sudden, or 1-4, all of a sudden Kansas is 3-2. Right now, after defeating the number 2 team in the nation and then going ahead and beating a really good Baylor squad. But those were home games. You look at the last couple of road games, Kansas wound up losing, right? They lost to UCF and they lost to West Virginia. Kansas is 0-2 right now on the road in Big 12 play. Now, this is Colorado. Again, like you said, they finished 16th in the conference last year. They don't have the same amount of talent that Kansas has, and Kansas has a true, at least probably 2 true NBA talent players on this squad in Flaherty and Darren Peterson. But it's still going to be tough. It's still going to be on the road. It's still going to be, another hostile environment. And they do have prolific scorers, and they do have good bigs down low. It's always going to be a challenge in the Big 12. Just because they're at the bottom of the Big 12 does not mean that they're just somebody you can walk all over. And right now, they have a very similar record to Kansas. Again, they are 12-6. Kansas is 13-5. Kansas is 3-2 in Big 12 play. They're 2-3 in Big 12 play. Now, granted, the 2 wins that they have were against Utah and Arizona State, 2 not very good programs. They're on a 3-game losing streak right now. But Colorado has gotten off to a much better start than I think anybody anticipated for this Colorado team, especially coming off of last year. They retained some guys. They've had some buy-in, and they've really been able to shoot the ball well and rebound well. So it's going to be tough, right? Kansas needs to prove that they can win on the road.
Yeah, they do. And Kansas all-time in the series against Colorado is 125-40. How much you want to bet that the telecast tonight shows a highlight of Askia Booker hitting a game-winning 3 in Boulder back in the 13-14 season, and you don't see many highlights of Kansas wiping the floor with Colorado. That's generally how it goes, right? K-State game is coming up on Saturday. KU has beaten K-State more than any team has beaten any team in Division I basketball, and I got a weird feeling that we're going to see some highlights on the telecast of K-State beating KU because Kansas beating K-State as they've done to Colorado, as they've done to Iowa State is typical, something that we're used to. But hey, it's all about Kansas taking their act on the road. As I've said, let's hear from Bill Self post-game press conference against Baylor saying, hey, next step is getting this done away from home.
We haven't taken our act on the road really and been very good. So, we won at NC State and we weren't great, and then of course lost in Orlando and Morgantown. This week is another 2 games. That's a great opportunity to go and try to play well away from home, and even though home court doesn't guarantee anything, it is different playing in this building when guys are so confident playing in here.
Big 2 games on the road for Kansas. Little Big 8 flair as they head to Colorado and then to Manhattan, of course. A K-State team that's 0-5 right now in conference play. Buffs tonight, Dan, give us some keys to the game. What is KU going to have to do to knock off Colorado and keep the good vibes going here in Lawrence?
Yeah, I think you got to get some other guys going, right? You had Flory, you had Darren, and that was enough to beat Baylor. I think it should be enough to beat Colorado as well, but you got to get Trey White back into the mix. I think that, he needs to be able to rise and fire and also get to the free throw line as well. Colorado can go on some extended runs whenever they need to. So that's going to be one of the major keys to the game is getting Trey White and Darren Peterson to the free throw line. And as Sam Winton from Jayhawk Slant likes to call him, Trey Gilgeous-Alexander, where he likes to foul bait guys and be able to get to the free throw line. We haven't seen that nearly as much as we did kind of earlier. So I want to see Trey White, be able to take over this game. I want to see him get back into the double figures and try to, just get back into that offensive rhythm. So I think just getting the wings in general back into the game is going to be a big importance. And then on the defensive side of the ball, you just got to rebound, right? They have 2 really prolific rebounders down low. Bangad Dak is going to be, a lot to handle for Flory Bidunga. You got to see Bryson Tiller getting back down there and banging with the guys down low and getting those rebounds. You got to see Flory fighting for those rebounds as well. You cannot give them second chances.
Kansas has the talent to beat Colorado. There's absolutely no question about that. Kansas is a superior team from a talent perspective, from a coaching perspective. No disrespect to former Jayhawk, Tad Boyle, but Kansas has certainly everything they need to get this done. And they need to get it done on the road because this is the type of game, if you want to compete for a Big 12 championship, if you want to start stacking the wins, even though it's on the road, you got to get it done, especially since you didn't in Orlando and Morgantown. I want to see how Kansas responds when Colorado goes on a run. It's a game of runs. Colorado likely will have some good energy in that building at some point. There's a lot of KU fans who tend to go to Boulder.
Yeah.
KU fans show out great there, but obviously Colorado fans are going to be jacked, as everybody is, when the Jayhawks come calling. I want to thank everybody again for listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City, as well as ESPN Wichita 92.3 FN. This is Rock Chalk Sports with Sean Kellerman and Dan Courtwright. Elijah Schmidt runs the operations here in the Kansas Nation studios. Check out kansasnation.com for all your KU coverage. And if you're watching right now on kansasnation.com, stick around because we've got more show coming up. But very soon, it's the Jayhawks and the Buffaloes in Boulder. Make sure that you're tuned in. Let's see if Kansas can go to 4-2 in conference play before the Dillon's Sunflower Showdown goes down in the Little Apple on Saturday. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be back with more on kansasnation.com. We'll see you guys later. Game Day Men's Health Lawrence is a partner with us here at Kansas Nation. Want to give a shout out to Mitch Bales and his team over at Game Day Men's Health. Did you know that 50% of all men experience low T by the time they are 40? 60% of men experience ED at some point in their lives. No matter what's going on with you, maybe you don't know what's going on, they can help you over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. You want to make sure you have the energy you need for everything going on in your life. Give them a call, give them a shout out, and certainly they can help you out. Everything that you need, Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Now's the time to get back to feeling as good as you are.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a situation where as we get older, it's tougher to do that. It's tougher to accept that we need to go to the doctor. And this is a full-fledged medical clinic, but they make you feel comfortable. They make you feel very much supported. 3-step process, and your first visit is completely complimentary. So check them out over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Hey, let's go to the KU locker room. Understand that the KU Baylor game was a while ago, but still want to hear some post-game reaction. Jayhawk Radio Network's David Lawrence caught up with KU's Elmarko Jackson after the 80-62 win over the Bears.
Elmarko Jackson, put into words what this week has been like as a Jayhawk and the confidence that you guys have obtained.
It's been great. I feel like our confidence level has definitely risen since, the beginning of this week with the Iowa State game. I feel like, that game has been a building block for us. And, as a team, we're just trying to continue to stack days and stack games where, we could be dominant and, make a push for this Big 12, regular season championship. We feel like we're a team that's capable of doing that. So we're, willing to accept any hardships that come with, fighting for this championship. So.
Elmarko Jackson, 7 points. You got 3 boards, another 2 steals. Take you back to Tuesday. Bill Self has not kept it a secret. He said over and over again, this may be the play of the game, play of the year. Just take it through this. I think you kind of lost control of the ball, and just talk about what through your mind immediately after that.
What through my mind was just like, I can't let him take my ball. So, that play is just like a culmination and a result of the culture that we have here, and what's instilled in us every day is just to compete and be hard, go hard every single day, and just take pride in having Kansas across our chest and just playing hard and just understanding that the privilege that it is to play here. So you might as well go all out when you're on the court.
And defensively, this Kansas team seems to be back where they were before Big 12, allowing a really good offensive team, 36% shooting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's just something that we've been harping on. Obviously, Carr and Tunde had good games, so we got to tighten up on that. But other than that, I feel like we did a decent job on them. Could have been better, but
Yeah, you were able to score inside, I think on a 3, and then a lob. Just talk about the 3-pointer first and your confidence knocking that down.
Yeah, I'm just confident with my shot. We shoot a lot of shots every day, and I get, extra work in myself. So if I see the rim, I'm going to put the shot up, and, I trust that it's, probably going to go down. So
yeah. And talk about what it was like, playing out there with DP and Flory. They go 49 points. I think they missed a combination of like 6 shots.
Yeah.
And 49 points.
Yeah. No, I was really excited to see them 2 guys going. That's a very powerful 1-2 punch. And then, we've also got Melvin and Trey and BT and, other guys off the bench as well. So, it's crazy. Actually, the way the game started, I was talking to JD. The way DP was hooping in practice, I thought that he could have went for 40 this game. So I feel like, we're going to continue as we continue to keep gelling and playing with each other. We're going to continue to see these type of games. So.
Do you realize the 22-3 run you had at the end of the first half, at the beginning of the second half, that really where you pulled away?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We kind of seen them coming back. I think it was like 36-31 or something like that.
They led 37-36.
Yeah, and then we kind of understood that we had them up early, so we gotta just be killers and put our foot on their neck and
How you feel about going into the mountains, try to get some road dubs?
Super excited. I feel like road games to me are the most fun games to win, going into a hostile environment and shutting them up. So I feel like that's fun, and all the guys in our locker room are ready for that challenge.
Did you see which Jayhawk camping group won tonight?
I didn't know.
Okay, I got to throw this name at you. Jamarco McJackson.
Yeah, I like that. That's my twin. So yeah, we rocking with that. For sure.
Okay, you can hang out with them. All right, a rare Saturday off. How are you going to spend it?
Probably just chill with the guys. Maybe go to Mass Street or something. So. Okay. Yeah. All right. Get some wings from Jefferson's.
Yeah, restaurant week. Maybe we'll see you there.
Maybe, yeah.
Elmarko, congratulations. It's a great week.
Thank you.
Elmarko Jackson.
That's David Lawrence from the Jayhawk Radio Network catching up with Elmarko Jackson post-game. KU and Colorado tonight. No huge storylines other than the fact that Kansas needs to win this game, right? Yeah. I mean, obviously, in terms of the season, we're going to look ahead at Kansas hopefully being in contention for the Big 12 title. Arizona and Houston haven't lost yet, so we know that that's going to be tough. We're going to talk bracketology as the weeks, months go on. But this is just a game that you got to win on the road. And Kansas has had a lot of success since Coach Self has been here on the road. This is not going to be a top half team in the conference, but we also said that about UCF and West Virginia.
That's very true. You know, I mean, in theory, it's an easy win. But then you look back at the UCF game and the West Virginia game, and you go, oh, man, Kansas was also about a 5.5, 4.5 point favorite over those teams, and Kansas wound up losing. Now, is West Virginia more talented than Colorado? Probably. Is UCF more talented than Colorado? It's probably close, right? So I think if Kansas can just maintain the momentum, maintain their team chemistry right now and the way that they're playing, I think that that's going to be the main way that Kansas can come out and win this game. But you got to be dominant. You got to get off to a hot start again.
We've got Kevin Flaherty coming up next segment, and then a little bit later in the show, we are going to, we're going to eat some food. Stanley James Smokehouse is coming in, and we're going to taste their barbecue. So looking forward to that. And we're also going to talk a little Kansas women's basketball. They're trying to right the ship in the desert against Arizona. Dan's got a top 10 Tuesday, and then we're going to hear from Brian Haney and Bryson Tiller post-game, talk a little college football national championship and some game picks as well. Top 10 plug?
I'm doing my top 10 clubs.
Top 10 clubs. Okay. Classic. He leaves it open-ended as usual.
What do you mean?
Kevin
it's
Flaherty,
cut and dry.
Kansas City Sports Network after this on KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports. We're going to be joined right now by Kevin Flaherty from the Kansas City Sports Network via Zoom. If you missed any of the show, check us out on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. And we mentioned the Greg Gurley and Mick Schaefer Between Two Fountains podcast is coming up. There's also a Haney and the Hawk show featuring Tyshawn Taylor. You want to check that out. KansasNation.com, the place to be for your best coverage of all things KU. There's articles on there. We've got, like I said, the Kansas Nation Podcast Network, all sorts of things. Coming over from Kansas City Sports Network is Kevin Flaherty. Kevin, appreciate you coming on. A lot to get to. Of course, it was a really successful week for KU basketball that we're going to ask you about, and a entertaining weekend, to say the least, for Kansas football. First, though, let's talk about Coach Self. Obviously, we're recording this show a little bit before we've received any news about who potentially will be coaching Kansas tonight, but KU Athletics releasing a statement that Coach did go to LMH Health and received IV fluids. Just kind of your reaction when you saw that statement last night.
Yeah, I think all of our reaction was you hope that Bill Self is okay, right? And you know, at the end of the day, I realize we all follow Kansas, and Kansas basketball is a huge thing, but it is a basketball game, and you know, you're talking about Bill Self's health, and so I think that was the initial reaction. The other thing is, you know, it's been reported the 911 call and things like that were for chest pains. And so you really hope it wasn't anything, you know, having to deal with what's kept him out sort of in the past as well. And let's be clear, guys, we don't know anything. It's flu season. There's a lot of different things going on. You know, it could be any one of any number of different things, but just hope that Bill Self is okay, that he recovers quickly, and that part is good. But generally speaking, Kansas will be without Bill Self, it looks like, tonight against Colorado.
Yeah, wishing the best for the Hall of Fame head coach. KU has got 2 on the road this week, of course, at Colorado and then at K-State on Saturday. Got to beat the Buffs tonight. Let's talk about last week, though. I guess I'll leave this open-ended, and Dan can get into some specifics if you would like. But what was the most impressive thing for you, whether it was a moment in the 2-game stretch at Allen Fieldhouse or in general how some individuals played? Because there was a lot to like for what just took place when Kansas knocked off Iowa State and Baylor. What stuck out to you or maybe made you most optimistic about the future?
Yeah, you know, it was one play, and it was one that Bill Self himself brought up, right? And I think all of us noticed in real time what a big deal it was. It was the Elmarko Jackson hustle play that didn't just save points, but led to points on the other end. And the reason I bring that up is we've talked so many times about how this team without a defense is a non-starter, right? If this is a team that enters the NCAA tournament and the defense isn't very good, you're not going to see them going very far. And a big part of defense is just the effort that you play with. And I think that was the thing that kind of we saw ratchet up this past week. Kansas wasn't second to as many 50-50 balls as they were in the first few games of the Big 12 slate. The other thing, guys, is the way that they defended. And I'm not talking about necessarily how effective they were, but we talked about how their switches were getting punished, right? And when you looked at the game against West Virginia, they went less switch, more kind of show and hedge. Still got punished in some circumstances there. Going with the switch three, having the bigs switch between themselves, it had some really promising early returns. And now we're going to see, what's the adjustment to the adjustment, right? I know all of us watch Major League Baseball. That's maybe the biggest part to somebody sticking in the league is, okay, you're hammering fastballs. Somebody throws you curveballs. Maybe you start hitting curveballs. Okay, what's their adjustment to your adjustment? That's what I'm interested to see this week, is coming off of last week with the defense stepping up the way that they did, with them going the long stretches of really strong defensive play. I think is to see what's the adjustment that people try to show Kansas, and can Kansas go ahead and stick with this sort of switch three, switch two thing, and have it be the base of what they do the rest of the season.
Kevin Flaherty, KCSN, joins the show via Zoom. Kevin, wanted to talk about this upcoming week, because Kansas coming off of a really good week beating Iowa State and Baylor. But in reality, Kansas is still 0-2 on the road, and they got two road games right now. Now, Colorado isn't exactly the cream of the crop in the Big 12, and neither is K-State, but this is always going to be their Super Bowl when Kansas goes out to Bramlage. How important is it for Kansas to get off to a hot start, at least against Colorado, just to prove to everybody that they can win a Big 12 road game?
Yeah, I think it's really big. Last year, maybe their best game of the Big 12 season came on the road against UCF. And I think last year it was more a thing where they just didn't play well over extended periods in general. It wasn't as much a home and away thing as maybe it has been in previous years. It was just, hey, they weren't that great compared to other KU teams. And so you saw them drop 3 games on the Big 12 slate at home. I need to look it up, but I think they played 5 Ken Palm top 55 teams last year at home in Big 12 play, and went 2-3 in those games. And so it was both home and away a year ago. Right now, like you said, we have seen kind of that Kansas trend of, okay, when it's at Allen Fieldhouse, things are ratcheted up. You want to see, can they carry that away from home? Colorado is always a tough place to play. I mean, I know people bring up the altitude part of it. That's certainly a factor when you aren't used to playing there. But the other thing that I'm interested in seeing in this game specifically, guys, is Kansas hasn't always played well against big teams, and Colorado is huge. Their most used lineup in Big 12 play, I think, goes 6'11", 7 foot, and then 6'10", 270 at center. And so how does Kansas handle that on the glass? Can they find a way to where you're not having your guards and wings get overwhelmed in the low post, where people kind of push them down in there and have some success? And I think those will be things to watch, as well as the road thing is just, how do they handle a bigger team right now? Because they have had some success, or have had some struggles, when they've played teams that have a lot of length.
And that's a good segue. Flory Bidunga had his best game probably as a Jayhawk, 23-11, 5 blocks and 2 steals. But Baylor, while they have long guys, while they have athletes, they don't really have much in terms of post presence. And Colorado, as you alluded to, they've got size pretty much everywhere, maybe more so than most teams in conference play. We haven't seen Flory shine against big teams nearly as much as some of the smaller teams. What's going to be key to him? Because as we saw, DP and Flory, that 1-2 punch, probably what we envisioned in the offseason for Kansas being at their best. And then the other guys kind of filter in. That's what we saw against Baylor. But again, against more size, what do you need to see from Flory to make sure that he puts up similar performances?
Yeah, there are 2 things, right? First is stay out of foul trouble. And that sounds simple, but man, if Flory's picking up 2 fouls in the first 4 minutes and having to go sit down, this Kansas team becomes significantly worse, especially at defending around the rim. I think heading into the Baylor game, I believe I forget what the number was, but teams were shooting 70% at the rim when Flory wasn't in the game, and it was like top 25 teams or whatever. There's a huge drop off with interior defense when Flory goes out of the game. I don't think that's a secret to anybody that watches KU. So staying on the court is a big part of it. The other part, guys, is I want to see him punish people offensively who are bigger than he is, because yes, you may have a size advantage over Flory, but he's got that quickness, that explosion, that second leap, all of those things. I want to see him attack and win his matchup with his quickness when he's going up against a bigger guy. That's something we haven't seen as much this year. Like you said, it does feel like when Flory has gone into those matchups, he's maybe been neutralized a little bit offensively. That's what I want to see, because Kansas is going to face some teams in the NCAA tournament that are going to have bigger fives than Flory is. And you need to, that's okay. That's going to happen, but you need to see Flory punish them on the other end, use his quickness and find ways to attack it and still be an impact on the game offensively.
Yeah, 100%. Kevin Flaherty, KCSN, joins the show. Kevin, I wanted to talk to you about this, and it's not necessarily like super analytical or anything, but it's in the news just because Christian Brown had a tweet about it, and it was just such an impressive performance by Darren Peterson, not missing a 2-point shot, shooting 50% from the 3-point line. In your time covering Kansas and watching Kansas basketball, have you ever seen as prolific of a shot maker and a guy who makes it look as easy as Darren Peterson? Is there even a comparison there for anybody that you've seen in the past in a Kansas jersey?
I don't think so, because Paul Pierce was really good by the end of his career, but I'm not sure Paul Pierce had the entire bag that he had in the NBA when he was at Kansas. And you're kind of seeing Darren Peterson is looking like a 25 a game NBA scorer. It's just that he's a college freshman.
Yeah.
And you look at the footwork, the way that he gets into his shots, where he can get where he wants. That you mentioned the fact that he's knocking down mid-range shots. That's not something that a lot of guys have in their arsenal right now. A lot of times they're more, okay, I can get to the rim and score there. I can make outside shots, but the middle game is lacking. And the middle game is kind of where he's making bread and butter right now. And if you try and stop the mid-range game, he's going to get to the rim. He's shot from the outside. He's shown the complete scoring package. They've run some looks for him to get post-ups at times, and they've run him off of screens. And so I can't think of a player who makes it look as easy as he does at Kansas. The closest comparison that I would think to, okay, you've seen something like this, and obviously I was a national college basketball guy for a while and got to go around and see a lot of guys play. I think it's Kevin Durant, honestly.
Wow.
And Kevin Durant obviously is different in that, 6'10", 6'11". He lists himself at 6'9", but in a New York Times article, he said that he's 7 foot when talking to ladies in the club. So,
Right.
he's actually taller than 6'9", but the footwork and the way that he gets his shot, the smoothness with which he operates. The only guy that I can think of is Durant. It's been a long time since we've seen somebody like this, not just in a KU jersey, but anywhere.
Yeah, and that takes me back to a thought I've had a couple times in this past week while being at Allen Fieldhouse is the Danny Manning shout out. Of course, KU takes on Colorado. Quote about KD being the baddest man to play in Allen Fieldhouse. That's come to my mind. I was like, man, that is a bad man out there. And Darren Peterson. I'll be so interested to see what his professional career looks like. Because KD, I love that comp. KD is such a smooth shooter. I think Peterson maybe won't be as good of a shooter as Durant, but just from an athleticism standpoint, seems like he can get to the cup and will be a guy who can maybe do that better than Durant. It's just so much fun to watch DP play basketball. Yeah, KU Colorado tonight, 10 p.m., a late one, Crimson and Blue show at 8:30. Kevin, got to ask you about Kansas football. How about KU poaching Dylan Edwards from K-State? I mean, a lot of people have opinions about Edwards, but one thing that we've talked about regarding KU, because that's who we care about in the portal, got a couple running backs, but not really a scat back. And Edwards is the type of guy that in an Andy Kotelnicki offense, and perhaps you have Zeke Marshall as your starting quarterback, that is a lot of fun. What all can he bring to KU?
Yeah, I mean, from a football standpoint, it's 100% a perfect fit, right? Because not only can he give you something you don't have in that room right now, but he's somebody that, provided you run Andy Kotelnicki's offense, you run the option, you pitch it out there, and there's one defender between Dylan Edwards and the end zone. He's got a chance to house that thing. And that was something that we really saw Kansas miss a year ago, was the lack of explosives that they were able to generate in the running game. And Dylan Edwards doesn't just, have explosives. He's a guy that can create a one-play touchdown drive. And that's something they haven't really had at Kansas. I feel like even with as good as Devin Neal was, it was something they had at Buffalo, though. When you look at Jared Patterson and you look at the fact that he was able to carry their offense with so many explosive plays. As for the other stuff, guys, one of the really cool things about getting to work at 24/7 and then doing the Verbal Commitment podcast over at KCSN is we got to know Dylan really, really well. We covered him as a high school freshman. We got a chance to talk to him at different camps, different settings, went to his high school, talked to him, and he even came on our show less than a year ago to talk to us about K-State. Dylan is a really smart kid. He really is. He's incredibly competitive. He's fiery. And I think Dylan is smart enough, and if you talk to people around Dylan, people who love Dylan, they believe that Dylan is going to make the most of this opportunity. He's smart enough to see, hey, last year was supposed to be my year, and for whatever reason, and there's you can't even say there's two sides to every story, right? There's about 8 billion sides to any story. But whatever happened, it wasn't the year that he expected it to be at Kansas State. But I think Dylan, he's a hardworking kid. You're never going to have to worry about that part of it. He's a really smart kid, and I do think that Kansas is going to see the best version of Dylan Edwards as somebody who's gotten to know him a little bit over the last few years.
And some other big news coming out of Kansas in the transfer portal, assuming that they're probably going to be done because they're at 86 scholarship players right now. And there's a way that you can do that that is over my head, and I'm not entirely sure. But they did wind up getting another quarterback as well.
Yes.
All arrows indicated that they probably weren't going to do that until really late into this transfer portal kind of opening, and Kansas winds up getting Chase Jenkins out of Rice. This really makes the quarterback room interesting because you look at it bare bones at statistics, he has the most experience out of anybody. He threw for over 1,000 yards and rushed for over 500 yards last year at Rice. So he's a true dual threat quarterback kind of guy. What does this mean for the quarterback room? And I guess, does this just, is it a clean slate? All three guys are on the same level playing field? Do you think one guy has more of an advantage than the other? Just your thoughts on the new quarterback addition, Chase Jenkins.
Yeah, a few things. I think this is a Andy Kotelnicki edition, right? If Andy Kotelnicki hadn't come back, I think Kansas may have gone ahead and rolled with Cole Ballard and Zeke Marshall, and maybe moving Mikey Pauley back to quarterback full time to be in that room, and with Jalen Mason as well. Now you add in another guy who really fits what he does. The one thing I would say is, yes, it's going to be an equal quarterback competition, I think. But having said that, remember, Lance Leipold has always started transfers down the depth chart when they come in. It's something where he says to guys, hey, you've already been here. We're going to give you this shot at this thing. And if you don't get it, then, those guys are going to have a chance. And it doesn't take some of those transfer guys a long time to get into that spot. But this could be one to watch in terms of how the reps play out early, who's getting most of those opportunities. Is it an even two-way split with Cole Ballard and Zeke Marshall and Chase Jenkins getting a little bit fewer? I think that's going to be an interesting thing to watch, because I don't see Jenkins starting off right off the bat with getting the reps at the other things that the other guys do. But one thing I'll say, guys, is we've been doing this a long time. And when quarterback battles are typically decided, a lot of times isn't on the field. It's not in the spring. It seems pretty rare that people come out of spring practice and say, Bob's our guy, if they have a legitimate quarterback battle. Where it's decided is the summer, and it's decided in the weight room, and it's decided who shows leadership, who players attached to. And then you head into fall camp. And yes, you have scrimmages and you track, how often guys turn the ball over, how accurate guys are, and everything else. But so often you'll hear coaches say, when Timmy won the starting quarterback job, was in June and July when he was organizing 7-on-7 throwing sessions. It was when he was in the weight room. It was all of those things. And so I'm interested to see, because Cole Ballard is a really good leader. They love him for a reason. Zeke Marshall is a guy that is a terrific leader by example. Chase Jenkins, from people that I talk to, is somebody that people attach to. I think the spring is going to be interesting to see how they ramp up the reps between the different guys, how they divvy those up. But ultimately, I think when they enter fall camp and say, okay, we have to have two guys battling it out now, and maybe one guy is ahead of the pack, that I think is going to be something that's decided in summer weights and conditioning and what happens around the facility during that time.
Yeah, very interesting and exciting. First time under Coach Leipold, KU is going to have a legit quarterback competition. Have to see how that goes. Kevin, got about 90 seconds left. Just overall, your thoughts, if you assume that Kansas is done in the portal on the roster as a whole, any glaring holes, or are you feeling pretty good about what Kansas did?
I don't think there are any glaring holes. I'm interested to see how the offensive line pieces together, because you've got some swing guys who could go either guard tackle or center guard. And I think that'll be one of the things to watch. They got some offensive weapons for whoever winds up being quarterback. Andy Kotelnicki spreads the ball around a lot, so you don't necessarily need to put too much weight on one guy. And then the defense with the guys that they brought back and then added to from the portal, I think they may have an all Big 12 type of guy, and I'm not saying first team, but an all conference type of guy at each level of the defense.
Wow.
When you look at, Leroy Harris, Blake Harold and McAlpine, Trey Lathan, Jalen Todd, and then that safety room, Corey Gordon Jr. And so second year in DK McDonald's system, I think he's got some guys that he can go out and go to battle with. And so that was a really nice way to sort of round out that group.
Well, that gets us fired up. As of now, Long Island's the first game on the schedule. We think Middle Tennessee might be week 0. We have to wait and see, but we're excited to see the new edition of Kansas football for 2026. Kevin, Kansas City Sports Network, we always appreciate you coming on. Let's get a couple wins on the road this week for KU Hoops.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, yeah, that's Kevin Flaherty joining us here on Rock Chalk Sports. More coming up after this on Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports here on KansasNation.com. Thanks as well for everybody joining us now on ESPN Kansas City. If you're watching on KansasNation.com, my computer has warped into a delicious-looking burrito as we are going to be joined in studio right now by Jordan Redmond from Stanley James Smokehouse. Jordan, appreciate you coming on. Thanks for the food, man.
Absolutely.
We are pumped to dive in. You come over. Of course, Stanley James is a partner of us here at Kansas Nation, and I've heard a lot. I've had your biscuits and gravy. I will say that, but I've heard a lot. Is this the burrito that you've spoken so highly about?
So this isn't the burrito.
This is not.
By the way, I will not shut up about the Big Daddy burrito. Mm-hmm. That thing is unbelievable. But this one's new. Is that right?
This is launched last month.
Okay.
This is one of our new things.
Okay,
Yep.
and what's this one called?
This is called the Outlaw Burrito.
Outlaw Burrito.
So I have a new barbecue cheesy rice. And you can do that as a side. You can do it as a rice bowl. But our big signature item with this is this burrito. It's brisket, rice, couple veggies, cheese sauce, and then I gave you a little bit of our house salsa to put on with it. A little bit of a different vibe, but I'm pretty stoked about it. I think this burrito is killer.
You want to take a
Absolutely.
bite?
Yeah, well, you go for it. You got the salsa on it.
Yeah, hit it. Come on.
Jordan, tell us a little bit about Stanley James. You guys are on 23rd and East Lawrence, and obviously you guys offer more than just a standard barbecue place because you've got breakfast options as well. But tell us a little bit about your place.
Yeah, so we've been in operation since 2018. I really think we started hitting our stride later on. There was a lot of transition in the place, and over the last few years, so it's really more like we've been really rocking and rolling for the last 3-4 years. You like that?
That's awesome.
It's great.
And so we've just been.
I mean, we're just gonna let you talk while we finish.
That's what I'm here for. Literally, that's what I'm here for. This is the marketing 101. Just watch some doofuses eat burritos, and life's good. Maybe I should work on my ASMR voice.
Right, yeah.
Watch as they eat the burrito. No, but and so we've been building Stanley James for a while, and this last year we've made some changes in the store to really try to just the natural growth of things to just keep going the direction it's been headed. And we're really excited about launching some new items. We're going to do a lot of dine-in specials. The whole month of February, I'm going to have evening dine-in specials going. And just the next step is we're really wanting to grow our clientele that sit down. You know, you can have a beer, hang out, eat a burrito, watch a game, all that, on top of everything else we do with our carry-out business and all that.
That's great. So you guys have TVs, you guys have beer.
We do.
Tell us a little bit, or the people who don't know, a little bit more about the dine-in experience.
Yeah, so that's a recent thing was we decided it was just time. So we got, I think, 12 TVs across the store. We do have dine-in beer. It's all going to be bottles and cans. We don't have anything on tap yet, but so you can sit down, watch a KU game, watch whatever. I've been doing during KU games. I'm doing specials on $1 beers, $3 bottles.
Ooh,
so
beat that.
Exactly.
Man.
Oh man,
Saturday games.
That's the best deal in town,
That's what I'm
dude.
saying.
Really? Like, I might as well just
Saturday is our burger day. All of our burgers are $2 off. So if there's a KU game on Saturday, you can
Which
go get a $1 beer, $2 off a burger, and just hang out and watch the game in a cool environment.
This salsa's awesome.
It is.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's how
cheesy rice. Is that what this is? Oh my god,
Your
good stuff.
sauce is fantastic too. The barbecue sauce. I like the udders. There's no other word to describe it. I guess it's just udders.
Yep.
Yeah. But if you go to Stanley James, you'll know what I'm talking about. They're hung from like a rope, and then you squeeze it like an udder, and then the sauce comes out. It's fantastic. But this is the outlaw burrito, right?
This is the outlaw burrito, and
Brand
that's
new.
our house salsa. So
Man.
that is not like in one of the udders. That is something we serve on the side like that. Goes really, really well with breakfast. We do nachos that you can share at a table. It goes great with nachos, all that. All the sauces we make in house. So yeah.
That's awesome.
You got to tell us about the breakfast, because I said you still have the biscuits and gravy, right?
Yes,
Because I've had
100%.
that before, and it's phenomenal. But tell us a little breakfast items, because especially if you're going in Saturday, Sunday, college town. I mean, breakfast, brunch. Do you have different hours for breakfast and brunch? And what's the menu look like for those options?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I serve breakfast all day. The only things we stop doing are made-to-order eggs and omelets, because we switch the grill over to lunch.
Yeah.
So at 11, we stop doing that. But we still do burritos all day long, biscuits and gravy all day long. As far as breakfast, this big signature item is the SJ burrito, which is the burn-in breakfast burrito. It's got burn-ins, egg, cheese, potato, bacon, green pepper, onion, and served with that house salsa.
Man, see, I'm the opposite of you. You've only had their breakfast. I've only had their
That's
barbecue.
right. You gotta go for the breakfast.
We need to just flip it.
Biscuits and gravy. You need to just flip
We
it.
just come in for an early KU game, eat breakfast, hang out, and then have lunch after the game's over.
It was like Saturday, 11 o'clock.
There are a
tips,
lot of 11, noon, 1:30 games the rest of the basketball season, so that's good.
The 11 o'clock Saturday games are perfect.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
totally.
Gosh, yeah, 100%. I want to know your process in terms of the meat that you guys serve too. Is there anything special that you do, like with the meat? I mean, do you smoke it for X amount of time? Do you have like rules written down, like the rules of basketball at the DeBruce Center, or what's your process there?
Some of that's proprietary knowledge.
Yeah, it's locked in a safe. Nobody. Yeah, right.
No, it's mostly just up here, which is probably a problem. I should probably do something about that. No. So I have a main pit master who works almost every day for us. I'm not doing it anymore. It used to be me every day, and I have to do all my other work, so it's not always me every day. But yeah, we have meat on the smoker almost 24 hours a day. We have, the overnight smokes, which will be, your brisket, your pulled pork. Those are going to be put on at night, pulled off in the morning. Then we're going to look at what we need to put on each day, and we'll put on whatever meat in the morning, and then after lunch, if you need to put on any after lunch. Usually the daytime smokes, they're going to take anywhere from an hour to like 4. And then the nighttime ones are going to be about 12 at very specific temperatures and and all that. So yeah.
Two of my favorite things in the world are smoked meats and burritos. So let's just
I'm right there with you.
I have a question for you. You own a barbecue joint. how do you stay so thin? Because if I worked at Stanley James Smokehouse, I would be 480
Dan
pounds.
doesn't taste his food. I mean, it just goes.
No,
if
it's
you
more of an
if you
hailing
saw
thing.
my dear sweet tiny mother, you would understand that it's just genetics. It's just
Okay.
metabolisms. I have nothing to do with it.
We don't a
So you
closet
don't have like a
vegetarian over here,
workout
do
that
we?
you, it's like, 'cause I need to.
I try to stay decently active. Yes. When I was like absolutely just working all the time in the restaurant, I was doing 16,000 to 20,000 steps a day.
Oh my
just
gosh.
walking like the
length of the kitchen.
length of the
kinda?
kitchen.
Right.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Not even exaggerating. I would do close
believe
to
it.
that many just back and forth and back and forth.
Yeah.
So that helps. That helps.
Yeah, well, sure. I can imagine.
No, it's funny you were mentioning burritos and smoked food is like your favorite thing.
Yeah.
Because what actually started this whole idea to do the rice and the burrito was I was talking to one of my employees and we were just talking about food. We were just talking about places we like to eat, all this. And him and I were talking, and rice is my favorite food.
Yeah.
Like all of my favorite foods include rice.
Yeah, okay.
And I was talking about that, and I just kind of you remember like That's So Raven?
Right.
When she
Yeah.
turned the camera in her eyes. That was me,
Shout
and I
out.
was like,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, why don't we have rice? I was like, what in the world?
Right.
What is going on here? So yeah,
the
so
rice
that's
is what
actually what
unreal.
started that whole idea. Yeah, it's pretty simple. It's basically just a red rice, but you use barbecue sauce
Oh,
Okay.
as the red,
yeah,
and then you just add in some onion, garlic, and cheese.
What's in the salsa, by the way? Like, what makes it different?
So
If you can give, I don't know any like secret recipes or
so
whatever.
the salsa is gonna be a tomatillo, jalapeno, onion, garlic. That's all that. We roast all that. Then we're gonna add in smoked chipotle. Put that in, and some vinegar, salt, all that, and then bring it all together. So that's where you go. It's a little vinegar heavy, but that kind of helps with breakfast and all that.
So
So
the
yeah,
Chipotle is what's coming out,
Yes,
and
yes.
that's what it was a little
yeah,
bit
so it's
different.
fresh vegetables, and then add in the chipotle after.
That makes
Jordan Redmond joining us here in the Kansas Nation studios from Stanley James Smokehouse. Brought us some delicious outlaw burritos. Talked about how I've had their biscuits and gravy before. Absolutely to die for. Got to check out Stanley James Smokehouse on East 23rd. Jordan, your favorite part about working for Stanley James, and maybe your favorite item or two on the menu. And then before you get out of here, you don't have to answer it now, but I want to make sure that we reiterate the deals that you guys offer, because dollar beers, I mean, that is hard. That is hard to come by.
My ears perked up.
People
There you
need to
go,
know
yeah.
when that happens as well. But tell us more about Stanley James and your favorite things.
Yeah, we have great breakfast. My brisket is killer. My burn ends. I'll put my burn ends up against anybody.
Ooh.
You heard it here.
I love it.
We also
Are you Kansas City frauds?
I didn't say fraud. I just said I'd put it up against anybody's. Sneaky ones are the turkey and the sausage. Our smoked rope sausage is awesome. Baked beans, mac and cheese. I know I'm just reading down the menu. Sorry, it's all really good. What can I say? And then breakfast. We have a really good breakfast menu. Like I was talking about, the SJ burrito. Got tongue tied. Got good biscuits and gravy. We got all that. So my favorites. The sausage. If I'm going to a party or like anything where people are just like bring finger food, anything like that,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna grab like a pound of sausage, coin it up, put it on something. Then we have a whole selection of jarred products. We have these pickled quail eggs.
Okay.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the jalapeno pickled quail eggs, they're a little spicy, not too spicy. If you're going to an event where people just say bring finger food, every time I just bring like a pound or two of our sausage, a couple jars of those
Yeah.
pickled eggs, throw it on the table, and
The
life is good.
Stanley James charcuterie board. Is what it
Exactly.
sounds like. Sounds
I actually
amazing.
used to do those for like catering and
Yeah.
whatnot.
That's so
and
awesome.
I kind of phased it out because it was kind of just me doing it, and and then like somebody would order one, and I'm like not at work, and all
Right.
my employees are texting me like, "How do we make these?" And I'm
Right. Yeah. Right.
Right.
So I kind of phased those out, but I did do that.
The
for a
adult
little while.
Lunchable, the
Yeah,
charcuterie
yeah.
board. Yeah, for sure. Well, yeah, tell us about your deals.
Yes.
For sure.
So we're getting ready to do in the whole month of February is going to be dine-in month. So every day from 5 to 9, we're going to have dine-in specials, assorted things from buy one get one half off burgers, buy one get one burritos, $8 nachos, $7 burn-in sandwiches, things like that. So it's going to be a different special every night, but it'll be every single night in February from 5 to 9. Dine-in specials.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then you were talking about the beer specials. Yeah. Any KU game day, we're doing $1 12-ounce cans and $3 bottles.
That's
any
awesome.
KU game day.
Hey,
that's huge.
We got a late one
Plus
tonight.
whatever food specials on.
Right.
Yep.
That's perfect. Well, we got a late one tonight. So if you're trying to pass the time, I mean, you've got a lot of dollar beers with your name on it over at Stanley James.
You get off at
See
5
how many
o'clock.
ounces, 12 ounces at a time.
You get off work at 5 o'clock. Game doesn't start till 10. Just spend those 5 hours at Stanley James Smokehouse.
Well, we've got the Saturday slate. KU's got a game every Saturday now through the start of the Big 12 tournament, I guess, and hopefully they're playing on Saturday in the Big 12
like
tournament.
I said, every Saturday is Burger Day. So,
Awesome.
So if there's a KU game any Saturday, it's going to be $2 off all burgers plus the beer specials.
Save a buck, eat great, and enjoy watching some Jayhawk basketball as well. Well, Jordan, I appreciate you coming in, man.
Absolutely.
Stanley James Smokehouse. Can't wait to swing by and try some other things on your menu. This Outlaw Burrito is amazing.
So good.
The salsa adds so much, and I already know the breakfast is great as well. But appreciate you guys, your partnership at Kansas Nation, and we can't wait to see you soon.
Absolutely.
All right. That's Jordan Redmond joining us here in studio from Stanley James Smokehouse. After this, it's a Tuesday. We got to do our Top 10 Tuesday segment with Dan Courtwright. Rock Chalk Sports rolls on KansasNation.com and ESPN Kansas City. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, ESPN Kansas City. Man, Dan, maybe you've lost a step or two because during that break, was able to house the rest of that burrito.
Well, I was.
You had to, I mean, you had to go to the bathroom and you
get another drink. And
Stanley James Smokehouse, delicious outlaw burrito. Appreciate Jordan Redmond and his team over there at Stanley James for being partners with Kansas Nation and honestly for providing lunch for us, as that was delicious.
That was huge.
They're about 6 seconds coming back to break. I was grabbing my computer, but
I'm gonna keep this here. I'm not going to eat it during the top 10 because it's very special.
Of course.
Top 10 today.
Do you need me to do something? So you want me to stall so you can eat the rest of it?
Yeah, say something.
You've got like 2 bites left. You're gonna do that? Okay. So the thing about the salsa, he doesn't taste his food. I mean, you have to taste it because that's why you're speaking with great aplomb. There you go. That was, oh my God, 2 bites, man. Just absolutely no.
Mm-hmm.
Your thoughts?
Yummy.
Stanley James Smokehouse on East 23rd here in Lawrence. Also want to shout out Miles Snare, Crown Automotive. CrownAutomotive.com. They will get you in the vehicle that you need. They're on South Iowa here in Lawrence, but of course you can go to the website if needed. Whether you're searching for a new or used vehicle, they have dependable salespeople to help you get in that vehicle, and they'll give you your options. It's a great selection, great inventory over at Crown Automotive, so appreciate them as well. Kansas women's basketball, they are trying to right the ship against Arizona tonight. KU women, as we've discussed, are just 11-8, 1-6 in Big 12 play. They just lost in Tempe, game 1 of the Arizona swing. Arizona is not very good from a record standpoint as they are 10-7. They're 1-5 in Big 12 play. KU has some questions that need to be answered. I think Elle Evans has kind of been a hot topic. She came in and was, the freshman of the year as a player for North Dakota State in her conference, and certainly has shined at times in her time here at Kansas. Was looked to as a key cog and the Kansas machine this year, and it just hasn't worked. KU's gotten big performances consistently from Samaya Nichols and Jalea Davis, but Reagan Williams has kind of been in and out of the lineup with injury. Libby Fandel is a freshman. She's been a little inconsistent. We've seen Keely Parks in and out of the lineup as well. KU's going to need some consistent performances, and Evans is going to have to kind of be that third scoring option. Hopefully she gets confidence and is able to contribute in a big way, whether she's starting or coming off the bench.
Yeah, I just think, over the last probably 7 games, it has just not been there for her. And it has really, really been just, she's just gone on a kind of a bit of a slump. And that's probably the best way to say it, right? I mean, she entered this season being one of the best 3-point shooters, I think, in the country, right? She was shooting upwards of 50% to start off the year, and then all of a sudden she just completely fell off. So really unfortunate. Obviously, Samaya left the Arizona State game in a wheelchair. Hopefully she's okay. No word on that as of right now in terms of if she's going to be able to be good to go or not. I believe it was an ankle injury. They did come out and say that it was not an Achilles injury. It was something else. So maybe it was her calf. We're not entirely sure what that was, but hopefully Samaya gets back. But, Elle is just not getting those open looks, and neither is Libby or Keely. And it's hard to ask that much of freshmen. But when you have a freshman like Jalea, you can ask them of that. But whenever it comes to like Libby and Keely, I think there's a bit of a learning curve, and it's just going to take a little bit of time for them to really be able to figure it out. They're just a little bit inconsistent right now. We'll see him go for 12 or 13 points, and then we'll see him go for no points. And it's just, you need to be able to find that consistency in terms of your offensive productivity there as well. And, you have Samaya and you have Jalea, two of the better offensive producers in the Big 12, I would say. You just need the supporting cast around them.
Yeah, and again, Elle Evans hasn't been in the starting lineup the past couple games. That doesn't mean she's not going to be back in the starting lineup. That doesn't mean she's not going to get it and be a big contributor. Just KU women
17 minutes
in a little bit of a slump right now, and hopefully this game against Arizona, a bottom tier team in the conference, will get them right. All right, Dan, tell us about this Top 10 Tuesday.
Sean, it's a very special Top 10 Tuesday in honor of Fernanda Mendoza going out and partying last night in Miami
after the game,
after winning the national championship game, which we will cover, by the way.
He's such an interesting interview.
He is an interesting. It's almost like it's like written out for him on like a cue card.
I know.
And it's like, and every day we're going to go out there and we're going to give it our best and all time for our guys. And
that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
I mean, that's pretty good.
But
his brother's entering the portal, by the way.
I did see
Alberto.
Okay, so how does
3 years eligibility?
How does that work? Like, if they're playing in the national championship, are they allowed to enter the portal after, like, they're like the day of or after the national championship? Or sure, whatever. Anyway, they went out and celebrated in Miami. So that brought me to do my top 10 clubs for today. Sean, do you have any good clubs that you like?
I hit my 4 hybrid pretty well. Honestly,
nice.
That's a good one.
That's awesome.
I would say.
Well, let me get into this.
Yeah. Oh, God forbid I give a few of these away.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like I read you like a book. All right, let's see what you got at number 10.
So for number 10 on my top 10 clubs, book club. I need to start reading more.
You have said that every week since we've been on.
I think I said it maybe. Yeah, and that's usually, I think this is probably the 15th year in a row that's been one of my New Year's resolutions.
Yeah. Well, because 15 years ago was the first time that you learned how to read.
Yes.
So that makes sense.
That's right. Yeah, I was 13.
Yeah.
And I
15 checks
just figured it out, how to read.
But you've opted against it.
Yeah, I learned how to read, and I was like, I'm still going to do it. Why would I?
Right.
You know what I mean? So I need to read more. But book clubs seem like fun, don't they? It's just a bunch of moms getting together, drinking wine, and not reading their book.
That's true.
That's what a book club is. They're like, let's read Little Women, and then they don't read Little Women, and they just gossip about what's going on around the town.
Have you seen the Friends episode where Joey reads it?
Little Women?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Rachel has to read. No, wait. Is it? Yeah, Rachel has to read The Shining.
Yeah, and then Joey was reading The Shining.
Yeah.
And he put it in the freezer because it was too scary.
Right.
Yeah, that's right. I'm reading a short history of everything by Bill something. It's really good.
That sounds really, really, really interesting.
I just got past the Big Bang, so hopefully it gets better.
Yes, you got this. Bill something.
Oh,
all right,
man.
book club.
Book club,
it.
number 10. Number 9 on my top 10 clubs, chess club. Did you know Chris Courtwright, my father, was in the, and I might be getting this wrong, I'm sure he'll probably text me, top 25 in the world, 12 and under in chess.
I'm going to say
when he was 12 years old, he was top 25 in the world, 12 and under.
That is
maybe it was U.S.
That is the least surprising piece of information I've heard in the last 5 years.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I mean,
you know what's wild? He never brought it up. I figured this out a couple years ago.
Do you even know how to play?
Yeah, like a little. Yeah, I'm like kinda. How do you
kind of know how to play chess? You know how some of the pieces move?
Like it's almost like it's like that would be like LeBron James not teaching his sons how to play basketball.
That's what Chris Courtwright did?
Yeah. Like
Have you told him that?
By the way, I've played chess against my father
And Dad?
probably 10 times in my life.
Does he let you in?
If you combine the total amount of time played in those 10, it's probably a little over 2 minutes.
He just wipes the floor with you right away.
Steamrolls.
I love it.
It's not even fun for him.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's a little bit fun for him.
It's embarrassing for me.
Yes.
He just
I love
kills
chess,
me.
man.
Yeah.
I'm a big chess guy.
Like
I'm not great.
Yeah.
I don't really know the strategy, but I know what to do, and I'm pretty good at thinking 2-3 moves ahead.
Yeah. The horse goes boom boom.
But the horse, Chris, the horse. All right, number 8.
Number 8 on my top 10 clubs. Club sandwich. I love club sandwiches.
Okay, you have 15 seconds to close your eyes. After the 15 seconds is up, I'm going to have you open your eyes and start talking. I just needed silence for a little bit. No,
come on.
No, okay, club sandwich. What do you put on it?
What do I put on?
Don't
the club
mess up. Don't mess up.
So I'm gonna go. So
you
it's
got to go quick.
White bread.
Terrible.
What do you mean?
Texas toast.
How?
Man.
Well, that's white bread.
That's different. Texas toast.
Texas toast is white bread. It's just a thicker slice.
Bacon.
Let me. I'll do
Let's
it.
go.
Can I do it? All right. So because this is gonna be multi-tiered. I'm gonna go bread, mayonnaise, lettuce, tomato, bacon, ham, cheese, lettuce, mayo, bread. And then I'm going to go mayo on the other side, lettuce, tomato, bacon, ham, cheese, lettuce, mayo, top piece of bread. So this is literally like a Scooby-Doo sandwich.
I wrote
this
that down.
Tall.
Cheese, lettuce, top piece of bread. Okay. And a cherry on top. Club sandwich.
cherry.
I love a
And
good club
all
sandwich.
held together with a really long toothpick.
Yes, it has to be. Has to be.
That's a good
Club sandwich, it's
But it's
top
number
club.
8. So like I don't know. I mean, I like a club sandwich. It's refreshing, I would say.
You don't feel gross after eating it.
Right.
Because it's not too greasy, but you get
exactly.
that bacon in there.
But like, is it better than a Philly cheesesteak? No. Is it better than a burger? Probably not.
Would it make top 10 sandwiches? Probably not. We've done that before.
I would say like it's probably like 11 or 12. But in terms of clubs, it's number 8.
Yeah. All right. What's number 7 in terms of clubs?
Number 7 in terms of clubs, a club that a caveman would drag around. Like a caveman club.
Oh, yeah.
You go bonk.
And what makes that better than a club sandwich?
So I think in terms of self-defense in this crazy, whacked out world that we live in, you need a little self-defense. So why not carry around a club? You know what I mean? Just a solid piece of oak.
I got some great
You can
photos.
hit a dinosaur in the head.
Yeah.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Where'd you get that picture of me?
Right.
I look good there.
You do.
I used to have a balloon. It was like a blow up club, and I would hit people in the head with it. When I was a kid.
Oh, you were one of those kids.
No,
God.
not all the time. Just like whenever I was in public, in front of strangers. No, but yeah, a caveman club. That to me feels like that's a funny way to get injured.
This is a cute Halloween costume, actually. I just saw this. So
You gonna dress Ava up as a cave woman?
I might. No, I can't. For some reason, I can't make it blow it up bigger. But I don't know what the deal is. But yeah. All you do is you put a little vest with a hood, furry, and then a balloon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Cute.
Like leopard print, I
cost.
guess. Right? Or saber-toothed tiger print, I suppose.
Yeah.
Number 6. My top 10 clubs. Sean, you will love this one. The Mickey Mouse Clubhouse.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse. I've been trying to get Ava into it, man, but she
won't get into it?
No, she's just.
I used to. My nephews like Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and then I had an ex-girlfriend who had nieces who loved Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and I would sit there and watch it with them, and I would just get into a trance. Like,
can you explain to me what's the difference between Goofy and Pluto?
So one of them is
they're both dogs.
So they're both dogs. Yeah, and that's a little concerning because
why didn't they come up with a different animal?
Yeah, but hold on.
But one's actually a dog?
I think Goofy might have been a cow at one point.
Okay.
But Goofy's a dog. Right. Goofy's for sure a dog.
So Pluto is the actual dog.
Pluto is also a dog.
Right.
So
Pluto's the actual dog. Goofy's more of like a character.
But he's a dog, though.
Well, right.
I mean, Mickey's a mouse.
Right, but you're not going to walk Goofy.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And I think that there are some societal issues in the Mickey Mouse world.
I see.
Where I think that they need to make some serious changes fast.
Interesting. I'm not familiar. Who's your favorite cartoon character in general?
Bugs Bunny.
Really? He's
Yeah.
also mine.
Ain't I a stinker? Man, what's up, Doc?
What's up, Doc?
Yeah, I think Bugs. He's a little rascal, and he's always picking
to no
on
good.
Yeah, always up to no good. Number 5 on my top 10 clubs, Club Car Wash. Good car wash.
Yeah?
Yeah, I like getting my car washed. It's you take it through, and then you can pay a little extra for a light show, which is fun.
Club Car Wash, if you're watching, partner with us here at KansasNation.com.
True. You never been to Club Car Wash?
I have been. No, it's nice.
It's a good place.
I utilize it usually for the free vacuums outside.
See, and that's the thing.
Because my car just gets gross.
See, and that make you feel like, well, sure. You
See,
got, like
there is
Cheerios in the seats. And
There is
all
one
over
problem with that, though. You have to have a working vehicle to get it there,
Yeah.
which is proving to
That's
be
fair.
difficult for us these days.
Yeah, how's the Jeep, by the way?
I will let you know in like 12 hours.
Okay, so it's
Yeah.
like currently in the shop.
No, it's not in the shop. I'm afraid to take it to the shop.
Okay.
But, well, I've got a
see.
guy.
With my car, I just let it sit on the lot for
Yeah.
like 4 days.
God,
Because
you're-
they
you're
told me
poor
it was going to
Kia.
be super expensive, and I was like, I'll get back to you.
You were poor Kia.
I know.
Yeah.
My poor Kia.
Yeah.
That dang car. But it's getting fixed. So hopefully I'll get it back by today. And then maybe I'll swing it by Club Car Wash. Swing it by the club.
See if they want to do any business with Kansas
That's
Nation.
probably the closest club to an actual club on here is Club Car Wash. Just because of the light
be.
show and the foam and you can turn up your
The
radio.
whole experience.
Yeah, the whole experience I think is a lot of fun. Plus, never mind. Number 4 on my top 10 clubs, Fight Club. You ever seen that movie? I'm not going to give it away, but it has one
Does
of
it
the
surprise you I've not seen it? Ah, Brad Pitt's in it.
Yeah. Tyler Durden is his character. Also, Ed Norton is in there. He plays the narrator.
Meatloaf.
Meatloaf is in it. Jared Leto is also in Fight Club. Probably the best plot twist I've seen in a movie maybe in my life.
Yeah, don't tell me.
Well, no, that's the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. You know what the second rule of Fight Club is? You don't talk about Fight Club. It's so important they added it twice.
Okay.
Which was genius, by the way, because it had
Have you seen
such
it, Elijah?
It had such a giant plot twist at the end that they made the rules, and then anytime people would want to talk about it, it'd be like, first rule of Fight Club. You don't talk about Fight Club, which then didn't spoil it for anybody, and it's so smart, and I love that movie so much. Watch it.
All right, I will.
a
It's
good
not
movie.
on your top 10 movies, though.
All it is about two friends hanging out, and one of them sells soap, and they live together. It's a good movie. It's a fun, family-friendly movie. Watch it.
All right. I'll watch it with the kids.
Number 3 on my top 10 clubs, Club Soda.
You love Club Soda that much?
I like Club Soda. With a little tequila, maybe, and a lime.
You know when I'll utilize it? To cut the sugar out of a margarita mix.
There it is. Also, what about to get stains out of clothes?
Ooh, great call.
Good call.
Yes. I, as you likely know, am a messy eater, as you are.
Yes.
And I'm shocked, honestly. White shirt.
I know. I went white shirt. I knew Jordan was coming
When
in
Jordan
today.
was coming in from
Yeah.
Stanley James Smokehouse.
I know,
And
that was
you
a-
didn't spill.
That was
Proud
a
of you.
bad decision by me, but I went ahead and did it anyway.
Good
and
job answering the call
yeah, it
there.
worked out. So thankfully it was in a burrito. Like if it was like loose burnt ends.
See, but you took your burrito out. So like if I go to Chipotle or something, I leave it in the foil. If you know, you know.
See, but I eat so fast
helps.
that I'm afraid I'm just going to eat the foil.
Just don't eat the foil.
Yeah, it's that easy, Sean.
You're afraid you're gonna eat the
just hit a
foil.
home run every time. Yeah. Oh, just don't eat the foil. It's not that easy for some of us, Sean.
All right, what's number 2? Club Soda. How about that? Getting number 2.
number 3?
Number 2.
There's number 3 on there.
Number 3, that's right. Number 2 is what?
Number 2, I gotta go with my 52-degree sand wedge.
I was gonna say I didn't know if your wedge was gonna be 2 or 1.
It's my golf club. It's a Titleist Vokey. It's got a little extra grooves in there for some spin action. I got it. Huh?
You just hit it well.
I hit it well.
Yeah.
I hit it really well. My golf game, I'm good at getting it within 100, and then 100 in to the green, I have been terrible.
Yeah.
But then I got this Titleist Vokey, this 52-degree wedge, and it's changed my short game. And that's the first time I've really felt the equipment make me better. Maybe it's placebo, right? Maybe it's,
right.
But also I didn't buy it brand new. I bought it used for $10 on Facebook Marketplace. But it just, like, whenever I hit it, it just feels right.
That's how it is with my 4 hybrid. I don't know why. And honestly,
4 hybrid's that's a crazy club.
I just hit it well.
How do you use a 4 hybrid
I don't use it that often, but when I'm in the fairway, I just feel more comfortable than an iron. So
what's your minimum?
If I'm like 160, 170 out,
get a 5-iron?
That's what I'm saying. I feel I
6?
pull back, hit the 4.
4 iron.
I want to hit the 5 iron.
75% kind of a swing.
I want to hit the 5 iron, but yeah, the 4 hybrid, man. I don't know. Okay. For some reason, it feels good.
Fair enough. Next on this list probably would have been my 3 hybrid. I have a 3 hybrid that I love, and I use that instead of a 3 wood.
Yeah, the hybrids just feel better.
Anytime I'm
3 wood.
Anytime I'm like 180 plus out, I'll pull out the 3 hybrid and I can clobber that thing.
Yeah.
It's, whoosh, man, that feels good. Number 1. On my top 10 clubs, real ones know, Club Penguin.
Club
Elijah
Penguin. Penguin with an
hell
A.
Yeah.
Penguin with an A. Club Penguin. All right.
Because I know you're old, and your childhood you spent playing with jacks in a coal mine, wearing overalls and looking at black and white pictures. Are you familiar with Club Penguin?
No, I'm not.
Not at all.
I'm not. Oh, is it a computer game?
It's a computer game.
Nice.
It was the most fun time I've ever had. So essentially, you enter your name, you create your persona, I guess.
Like The Sims.
And yeah, it's like Sims, but it's like a live, and you're playing with other people who are all also on Club Penguin. So you would go.
I've heard of it, but I didn't really know what it was.
Yeah, you would go and you'd be like a little penguin, and you have your own little igloo, and you can decorate it the way that you want it, and then you can go to like a little coffee shop and sit down and drink coffee. Which, by the way, you're just sitting there at a computer doing this the whole time. But it's fun. It's a nice little. I miss Club Penguin. Didn't they get rid of it?
Bummer. 2017, it looks like. Any honorable mentions for your clubs, drivers?
Yeah, I had so my 3 hybrid was on there. I like my 5 iron a lot too, although it hasn't been treating me well lately. I used to be a 5 iron guy, and then I've stepped away from being a 5 iron guy. Usually, if I have a 5 iron situation, I'll just go really heavy swing with a 7, which is you can't do that too often, because then all of a sudden it feels like you're laying up, and you're like, what am I, some kind of wuss? You know what I mean? I like my driver. Pitching wedge has been good to me. Those are the honorable mentions that I have.
I'm very surprised that you don't have.
Country Club Plaza's good.
Any of these nightclubs, man. You don't have Missy B's on here. You don't have anywhere in Vegas on
honorable
here.
mention. Yeah.
Green Lady Lounge.
Green Lady's great, by the way. In KC?
Yeah.
Love that place. All those are honorable mentions. You know, like there's, the Brickyard, but formerly the Brickyard in Emporia, and they have Logie's and the Sandbar, and different places here in town. And I like those places a lot. But like, do I like them more than a club sandwich? I don't know.
Not only in town, but our neighbors here. We don't take advantage of that enough. Here,
right.
Kansas Nation.
We've done another Red Line
on,
before.
Mass Streets. Yeah, we have. We've been to the Red Line. We haven't dabbled with Leroy's on New Hampshire.
We went to Louise's once
or
too.
Sandbar. Did we?
We need to go to Sandbar more. I like Sandbar.
That needs to happen. I mean, we are too close. We have this awesome Kansas Nation studio downtown. We need to take more advantage of that. Top 10 Tuesday with Dan Courtwright. After this, we're talking college football playoff national championship game, and maybe some game picks for college basketball as well. That's all coming up next. ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Welcome back. Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, ESPN Kansas City. Sean Kellerman, Dan Courtwright with you here, and this segment is sponsored by our friends over at Game Day Men's Health Lawrence. Free complimentary first visit, 3-step process with a blood draw and a really comfortable setting.
Yeah, no, they do a great job of making you feel comfortable. Obviously, going to the doctor can be weird sometimes and uncomfortable, and they do everything that they can to make sure that you are comfortable whenever you are going to the doctor. It's a plush man cave-like setting, and I urge you to go get yourselves checked out at Game Day Men's Health because the first visit is 100% complimentary. It's important. Everybody needs to go get themselves checked out. I know everyone wants to say, oh, I'll be fine or I'll just worry about it later. Well, people like to push stuff back. Just go and get your first visit completely free. They'll take your blood. They'll make sure everything is working, and that'll ease your mind of thinking, oh, okay, maybe everything is working just fine and I am okay. And if not, then they will do everything that they can to help you out. So be sure to check out Game Day Men's Health. 50% of guys over the age of 40 develop low testosterone, and 60% of guys experience some form of erectile dysfunction at some point in their life. So be sure to go check out Game Day Men's Health.
Brian Haney and Bryson Tiller had a conversation post-game. KU over Baylor 80-62. Let's hear that conversation in advance of KU and Colorado tonight at 10.
Another convincing win in the fog for your Kansas Jayhawks, and Bryson Tiller helping with some of the heavy lifting here tonight. What a week. You go 2-0 with 2 emphatic wins. What pleased the head coach the most? What was the message in the locker room moments ago?
Just that we're coming out of halftime with a different mentality. I feel like lately we struggled coming out the locker room, but I feel like we had a better mindset coming out. We stayed aggressive and we communicated well.
It's rare you see a team build up a 15-point lead, lose it, and then build up a whole different 24-point lead. So that's part of that out-of-the-locker-room mindset you're talking about. Speak to some of the keys to sparking such a huge second run.
Yeah, I feel like it all starts on defense. So we had to be a very good communicating team tonight. They're a good team. They have great players that can score very well. So we just had to know where our coverage was and stick to the game plan.
Total team effort throughout the week, but tonight 2 stars shine the brightest as Flory and Darren combined to go 22 of 27. How impressed were you with those two, and Flory in particular with so many rim finishes?
Yeah, very impressed. But we kind of expected out of them too. They work very hard. We see it every day in practice, so definitely expected, and it was great to have them tonight.
What's the biggest key to now bottling this up and taking this show out on the road? You've proven how good you can be at home. Now you got to head out to Colorado on Tuesday.
Yeah, I feel like just staying consistent. That's a big thing for us. No matter whether we're home or away, just staying consistent, staying to our principles, and just executing whatever we have to do that night to win.
Jayhawks with a fantastic 2-0 week at home this week. Now they head to Colorado next. Bryson Tiller, thanks for the time. Best of luck.
Thank you.
That's BT. KU wins it in the fog, 80-62.
That was Brian Haney and Bryson Tiller post-game, KU over Baylor 80-62. Now it's about KU taking their act on the road, as we've discussed, as they battle Colorado and K-State this week. Tonight, 10 o'clock in Boulder, KU Colorado, Crimson and Blue Show at 8:30 on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Well, at the time of this recording, we are finding out via an official release from Kansas Athletics that Bill Self will not be joining the team tonight. Of course, he had the issue yesterday where he needed some IV fluids, and out of an abundance of caution, he went to LMH Health after feeling under the weather. Recently found out now that Jacques Vaughn will be the acting head coach tonight. Dan, please read us that statement from KU Athletics.
Yeah, here's the statement sent from Daniel Burke from Kansas Athletics. This is from head coach Bill Self. Says, I'm feeling much better, and I want to thank the well-wishers and the great team at LMH Health. I'll be sitting out tonight's game. And as I said before, we have an elite coaching staff at KU, and I know our players are in good hands in Boulder. Jacques Vaughn will serve as the acting head coach tonight. He will rely on our great group of coaches, Jeremy Case, Curtis Townsend, Joe Dooley, and Tony Bland throughout the game to lead the team. So interesting news, as you know, this was, I guess, probably like one of the last things that you were thinking about. Obviously, you wanted to make sure that Coach Self was okay. And turns out that he is okay and he's feeling a lot better. But you know, probably good for him to take a little bit of time off, just from the coaching realm. Don't want to stress him out by getting him on a plane and hurrying him all the way to Boulder and all that stuff. So it probably ran through some people's heads later that, well, who is going to be the guy if Coach Self doesn't decide to go out to Boulder? And, you probably thought it was going to be Jeremy Case just because he is at that associate head coach level or assistant head coach level. They did give him that promotion, and Jacques Vaughn is still only an assistant coach. So it's interesting to see that Jacques Vaughn is going to be leading the charge for tonight. Not that it really matters,
sure
because a lot of the
he's
guys
got head coaching experience.
right, and that's
level,
the thing. That's the thing. He's head coached at the NBA level before. Has Curtis has KT ever stepped in? Okay, so it was just Norm who stepped in that one time. But again, he has been a head coach at the NBA level, so it makes a little bit of sense to allow him to do that. But also, the guys are listening to everybody out there, right? Obviously, Bill Self is the leader, and he's the one who's the loudest, and he's the one who talks the most. But there are guys going over to Jeremy Case. There are guys going over to Curtis Townsend and Tony Bland throughout the game to get different pieces of advice or whatever they need to do, kind of during the game. So the coaching staff in general, I think, is fine. It'll just be interesting to see how this team is led by Jacques.
Yeah, excited for it. Again, KU and Colorado tonight at 10. A great opportunity for Jacques in his first year as an assistant coach to be the head coach, at least acting head coach for one game. Hopefully, Coach Self is continuing to feel better. Again, that's the most important thing from the statement, is that he says, I'm feeling much better. So KU's got to get one on the road for Coach, and then get one in Manhattan as well. Important week for Kansas to continue the success. January 31st, it starts. I don't want to say it starts for real, but you got to get these wins in advance of that, because then you have a tough game with BYU January 31st at Fog Allen, and then a really, really difficult on paper month of February, where you get Arizona twice, you get Houston, you're at Texas Tech, among other difficult games. But hopefully Coach Self feeling better, and he'll be back with the team as soon as possible, as Jacques Vaughn will serve as the acting head coach alongside the assistant coaches Jeremy Case, Curtis Townsend, Joe Dooley, and Tony Bland. Dan, college football national championship, unbelievable. Indiana gets it done, 16-0. Indiana football, one of the losingest programs in the history of the sport. They go undefeated, and they're national champions, 27-21.
Is that a pig flying outside?
Crazy, right?
I never once, by the way, another weird stat, the most recent undefeated teams in both college football and college basketball are both Indiana.
Right.
Isn't that crazy? Because the last time it happened in basketball was 1976.
73, I thought.
Maybe 73. You might be right. It was in the 70s with Bobby Knight.
You might be right. No, it was 76.
Oh!
Wait. Yes, 76. Look at you. Oh, my God. You must be growing up.
I know.
You nailed
that's
it.
Huge.
I don't know why I thought 73.
But I look, and again, a testament to Indiana and a really good football team. I think, you look at guys like D'Angelo Pons, you look at guys like Michael Kamara, you look at guys like Mario Landino on the defensive line, who were just so good all year for Indiana. They had the talent. But I think that this is a story much bigger. And when you look at all the storylines from this, right, you look at the storyline of Fernando Mendoza growing up a mile away from the University of Miami, who was a giant Hurricanes fan growing up, asked to walk onto the program, and they told him no. So he goes to Cal, then transfers over to Indiana and wins the Heisman Trophy and goes down to Miami in their house and beats Miami in the national championship game with Indiana, who's never won a national championship before in their life. Incredible story, that in and of itself. But number two is the fact that it was Indiana, and the fact that it's possible, right? Because in the world of NIL
and the transfer portal,
that didn't seem possible. It felt like the big money boys were going to run away with it every year. I have my college football playoff shirt that I wore yesterday, and on the back it has like Alabama, Clemson, Georgia, and Oklahoma. And you just felt like it was going to be kind of the same guys every year. You're like, all right, well, Texas has a lot of money, so they're going to be in it every year. Texas A&M has a lot of money, so they're going to be in it every year. Oregon, a ton of money. They're going to be in it every year. Indiana does not have a lot of money to play around with, and they did it. They went 16-0 for the first time since Yale did it back in the 1800s.
No 5 stars.
No 5 stars whatsoever. A ragtag group of guys who transferred in. A lot of them were from JMU. You look at guys like Michael Kamara, who won Defensive Player of the Game, who had the blocked punt, which was a huge momentum shift for Indiana. By the way, Indiana 0 seconds in the college football playoff, trailing.
They need to be talked about as one of the greatest college football teams of all time. And
Absolutely.
maybe they are now, going 16-0. Now, it would be interesting. You're getting a lot of people saying, oh, well, 2020 had Joe Burrow, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, 2020 LSU, and who knows. But as a team, one of the best we've ever seen, unquestionably. It's amazing it's Indiana. And getting back to what we talk about regarding transfer portal rankings and all these websites that talk about, giving out stars and who's got the best class and this individual is going to accomplish this. Well, those, they whiff a lot. Fernando Mendoza, ESPN, 73 overall, a 3-star pocket passer quarterback from Miami, Florida.
I know.
And he is a Heisman Trophy winner and national champion, which doesn't happen very often.
No, and I think the thing that sums it up.
How about him believing in Indiana, in Signetti, and going there?
That's the thing. That's
like
the
you transfer from Cal
thing.
to Indiana. He believes that he can win at Indiana, and they did.
I know. It's just unbelievable to see that actually coming to fruition and seeing Indiana. Because, again, like I said, you look at the teams that they beat. They went out to Pasadena and beat Alabama in the Rose Bowl.
And
by
beat
a
them
lot.
down.
They beat, was it Fiesta Bowl? It was Cotton Bowl. They beat Oregon bad. Those are the two heavy hitters in terms of NIL money. They beat Miami. A lot of NIL money coming in there. This ragtag group of guys.
Third time's a charm is the
from
Peach Bowl.
Peach Bowl. This ragtag group of guys from Bloomington, Indiana, beat all these big money boys just to prove that it is possible. This gives teams, and this is how I'm going to make it about us because I like doing this. This gives teams like Kansas, teams like, Michigan State, or teams like Mississippi State or Virginia Tech, or whoever you may think of in terms of, the teams that are just, they're Power 4, but they don't have a lot of money, and they're always kind of in the middle of the pack in their conference, middle to lower pack of their conference. It gives us hope because Indiana did it. Now, do you need an absolute psychopath as a head coach? Probably.
Maybe, yeah.
Because Curt Cignetti is an absolute psychopath.
Welcome to Vegas.
Welcome to Vegas.
I hope he's been practicing at the roulette table.
Man.
Can you practice at the roulette table?
I don't know if there's like a actual way to practice.
You could probably practice at blackjack, but I don't know if you can practice at roulette.
But I actually don't think, because he signed a contract through 2031.
Wow.
I know.
Has no one ever?
Sure. Fine. Fair enough. But you look at a guy like Fernando Mendoza, who is probably going to go number 1 overall. Not talked about. Nobody wanted him. 3-star kid. Miami didn't even want him as a walk-on. And the gutsiest call, I think, this might be, it might have been the best play I've seen maybe in college football history. I'll have to look back. Obviously, Devontae Smith's game-winning touchdown back in 2021. It was the 2020-2021 season. Or no, it was before that. That one was incredible. But the 4th and 5, Indiana's up 3. 4th and 5, they decide to go for it. They're at their own, 10, 15-yard line. They decide to go for it. QB draw. He runs up the middle, gets smoked by a safety, spins around, dives into the end zone for a touchdown. That's a Heisman winning move.
And talk about a team that doesn't beat themselves and is unbelievably well coached in all phases.
Oh, my gosh.
Indiana football, Curt Cignetti.
They had maybe 2 flags, and I think one of them was
just
a
so
false
consistent.
start. Yeah.
So consistent. And, they just don't beat themselves. Indiana football over Miami in the national title game, 27-21. Well, you know what that means? College basketball is at the forefront. Yeah, we've got the Super Bowl, and we'll talk about that. But the Chiefs aren't in it. College basketball, March Madness coming up. Dan, I'm going to go through some game picks here. We got a couple minutes, so pretty quick. UCF is at number 9, Iowa State. Iowa State's lost 2 in a row. They are 13.5-point favorites at the Hilton, over under 156.5.
Over under 156.5. I like that over. I think both of them are going to be able to score a lot of points. I think Iowa State's defense has not been as good over these last couple of games as it was. I like UCF to cover that spread, but not by a lot. I think Iowa State pulls this one out by 10.
TCU hosting Oklahoma State. TCU is 8.5-point favorite at home. Over under 162.5.
Interesting. Obviously, TCU is a good good program, and David Punch has been really, really good. I like Oklahoma State still, though. I still think they've been playing some good ball. Now, yeah, they lost at home to Baylor, and they've thrown up some stinkers. But I like Oklahoma State in this game to cover.
Speaking of Baylor, they are home dogs ever so slightly, plus 1.5, hosting number 12 Texas Tech, over under 154.5.
Yeah, I mean, Tech's just too good. And look, I think Baylor coming off of that loss to Kansas, I think that they're going to be really down in the dumps. It's in Waco. I understand that this game is always going to be a little weird, but give me Texas Tech to cover that. I'm going to, so I'm going to push the point away. So give me Texas Tech. So I'm going to take the money line.
Yes.
Minus 130.
Yes, you got it. Okay. K-State hosting Utah. Cats looking for their first conference win. They're minus 9.5, over under 168.5.
Yeah, it's in Manhattan. I like Utah on this one. I think PJ Haggerty will have 26 points, but he'll have 26 of their 60 points.
So 26 exactly. All right, last one. Some money coming on Colorado. KU is just a 4.5 point favorite at Colorado, over under 156.5.
Yeah, they opened up at 5.5, been bet down. I think Kansas still wins this one by a few possessions. Kansas wins, Kansas covers. Dan Corright special.
10 o'clock tonight, KU in Colorado. Sports Radio 810 WHB will have the Crimson and Blue show starting at 8:30. Can the Hawks get it done late night in the Rocky Mountains? For Elijah Schmidt running the operations and Dan Corright, I'm Sean Kellerman saying catch you tomorrow from 4 to 6. Rock Chalk Sports, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com.